Okay, so for my reflection number two, the thing that I would like to talk about is issues in charter schools when it comes to enrollment. And this has been kind of a common conversation that I've had with coworkers, things that I've been thinking about as I venture into opening my own school. Um, but I think that charter schools have the great benefit of being able to construct a educational and learning environment based on different themes or communities or structures that they have the freedom to do so. However, I think one of the realistic challenges that they have has a lot to do with keeping, you know, so to speak, the doors on and the lights open. And what ends up happening a lot of the times, if there's not a strong community presence, if there's not a strong recruitment presence, if there's not a big infrastructure of quality individuals and positions, then what you get into is this kind of catch 22 black hole of just accepting any and all students that you can to be able to hire more teachers, to be able to pay bills, to be able to do the things that you would like to do. For instance, just to give things a little bit of a context, um, I think that, for instance, but I think this issue has a lot to do with being confused about what type of school, what kind of school, what caliber of school that you want to be. So, say for instance, I work at a bilingual, multicultural charter school. Um, we want to acknowledge the experiences, the culture, the um, the environment of Latino students in a way that's going to prepare them, whether they have been in the country for a month or whether they've been in the country all their lives, to be able to navigate not just Minnesota and its educational system, but the world. Right? But it's doing that while keeping their heritage, their culture, their language, things like that intact, which is something that I stand behind, something that I very, very much agree with. But I think, like a lot of other charter schools, sometimes issues of keeping the doors open or keeping enrollment up or keeping those things intact, have the instance of, just accepting a lot of students. And so what happens is, you may have issues in the classroom about multiple levels being in, one classroom, not having enough teachers, not having enough different versions of classes in order to take students where they are and get them to where they need to be. I think one of the things that is automatically sacrificed when you have this particular situation is resources for students who need extra support and rigor for students who are on par. Resources for students, having proper support staff, having proper license support staff that are able to work with students, having a robust ELL department that's able to help with those things and navigate. Is one thing that immediately gets hurt. I believe in immersion. I think full immersion, especially in this case, at this level of the game in high school, is just not feasible, nor is it appropriate. I don't think there are levels, And so those need to be acknowledged and those need to be like worked on. Um, let's see. The point about rigor, I think rigor is super, super critical. And while having like these multiple programs that really focus on bringing students up, that's getting students on par, that's giving them tangible, workable, methods and resources and all of these things that can um, really help them adjust to the U.S. American structure, right? Educational structure. But what about those students who demand rigor, who require rigor, who can accept rigor, who need rigor to push them to the next level? I think there's only so much that differentiation in the classroom can provide. Um, and the lack of ability to have in increasing one-on-one work with those particular students. And I think one thing that's really hard is that they oftentimes get left out of the conversation. And so in my work, that's always something that I'm thinking about in the back of my head. I'm always thinking about using differentiation in the classroom, using media, using language, translating, doing a lot of those things in the classroom that benefits various different types of learners, very different levels of English capacity with English learners. But I think one of the things that's really hard in all of that is to adjust the rigor for students, especially those who can handle it and want it and should have it. Is that I can't, or I'm struggling with having a lot of variance in rigor, right? I can do my multiple levels with differentiation, but within that, having some individualized things are really hard to do when you already have so many, when you're juggling so many different levels of rigor or things like that in the classroom. So those are my thoughts. Multi levels and support service for students who are on varying different levels to get them on par, and then the cost of rigor in having particular institutions that charter schools fall into with having to accept or wanting to accept everyone, and what gets lost, what gets gained. Um, and so just a lot of things to think about with that. So with that said, I'll stop the video here. And this will be my reflection for today, week 2. All right.